Well, hey everybody, welcome back again as we go through these 6 weeks of Lent, thinking about 6 practices that help us reorient our life towards God and towards other people. We've been looking a little bit and saying that here we're going to use practices from this book, which is called The Common Rule by Justin Whitmel Earley. Last week we talked about how we begin our day, and we begin our day either based on what the world is trying to tell us by waking up with our phones, waking up with the news, or waking up with the radio, or those things which try to speak into who we are and what's important, or we reorient our focus and we reorient ourselves based on God's word, and we begin the day instead of grabbing our phone and scrolling by grabbing our Bible and reading. And so we've been reading through a little bit of the Gospel of John together. And maybe you've noticed as you've been reading through and reorienting your life to God, is that God has an orientation towards people. And we see that even in the Gospel of John. We see how Jesus, one of the first things he does is he orients himself towards people by calling the disciples to follow him. And then he orients himself towards people as he desires that the wedding hosts in Cana not be looked down upon by running out of wine, so he creates wine out of water. And his entire life was supposed to be oriented towards people, because we read in John chapter 3 that Jesus' whole purpose of coming to this world was orienting people to God and restoring that relationship that the whole world may be saved. So today's practice that we're going to take into our life the next 5 weeks is orienting ourselves to people. I'd love for you to join with me in reaching out to one person and having an hour-long conversation with them. Now, maybe this could be a friend that you know. It could be a standard time that you're going to say, hey, Bill, I'd love to get together with you once a week for the next 5 weeks to just talk and check in with one another. The beautiful thing about this practice is that it pushes back on the loneliness and the disconnectedness that we've been experiencing during this COVID time period, where we've been isolated from people. God says that we are people who are needing conversation with one another. We are made to be in relationship with one another. So reorient your life that you can reach out to someone. Set up a standard time, Thursday night at 9 p.m. you're going to call them, or Saturday morning bright and early at 8 o'clock. I'd call that bright and early, by the way. Or maybe it's a sporadic time, but reach out to someone. The other thing that this person can do is help you keep yourself accountable to getting into the Word every day, like we said we were going to do last week. And they can keep you accountable to continue to reach out to them and to talk and to check in. And then you can also pray together. You can check in to see what you've been gleaning and what you've been learning from reading through John together. So let's work together this next week, reorienting our life to people by reaching out and having an hour-long conversation once a week. We'll see you next week.